Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm David John Sponheim, running for President 2016, and this is America's Third Party's Fun Friday Night. Now is the time for Sponheim. That's our new slogan. I believe we've had enough of Obama. We've been lied to about, 80 times, documented lies. And now he doesn't care about the NSA watching everything we do, all our telephone transmissions, all our emails. He doesn't care. He thinks it's it's transparent. Remember when he was talking to Charlie Rose the other day, and he pretty much said that, one of those FISA judges actually overturned it. But, Charlie Rose is wondering, why isn't FISA accountable? And how many times have they actually overturned a wiretap order? Well, apparently only once, according to Barack Obama. So that's kind of sad. And not only he is in favor of the NSA investigating, looking into our private lives, but so is the entire Republican Party. they seem to be okay with it too. Yeah, Lindsey Graham made a comment that sounded like Hitler, or Hitler's propaganda minister, Goering, who said that if you have nothing to fear, you have nothing to hide. You have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear. That's what Lindsey Graham said in those words, or spin around, doesn't even matter. The fact that he said it is disturbing. All right, our country is clearly in need of a third party for a variety of reasons. We come to the table with, number one, we want to legalize marijuana, and the other two parties don't want to do that. We definitely want to see the production of hemp in our country. It's a form of cannabis, so we think that it could easily provide a tremendous amount of biofuel. Buildings can be created out of hemp. We got the possibilities that hempcrete can be formed. Plastic can be created out of hemp. Hemp plastic. By the way, Henry Ford created a hemp plastic back in the 1940s. He actually created a hemp plastic car, which is really kind of amazing. And I believe that if you look at the history of our country, we have been purposely made to get oil as our primary source of fuel. Oil. We're oil-based. The idea of oil-based economies is beginning to change. Around the world, people are thinking, well, let's create hemp. Let's get hemp into the diesel supply. Let's lower the cost of diesel. Let's get more renewable energy systems going. And we've all thought that Obama was going to do that, right? No, sorry. Obama gave Solyndra $529 million to waste. That's what Obama did. Obama gave Fisker Motors, the Finnish company, the contract to build electric cars with a $1.6 billion backing for loans, and Fisker Motors is now going bankrupt in Finland. Interesting, huh? Isn't it funny how we're giving all these big companies from other countries or American companies that are just trying to profit the orders instead of just getting down and dirty and building an electric car, a hybrid electric car. Imagine taking General Motors stock that we currently have, our tax dollars have purchased 30% of General Motors. We own 30%. But can you imagine taking a portion of that and building a U.S. auto corporation to create a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle that'll go like 100 miles on a single gallon? Or if you want, just plug it in overnight in a standard wall outlet. It'll have a full charge and you can drive around town until the 3-cylinder engine kicks in and then it gets another 60 miles per gallon. Well, that's possible. In fact, last night on our show, and you can see this if you just sit here and wait for the next video to play if you're watching this in archive. Last night we talked about Elio Motors out of Shreveport, Louisiana, that's creating a 3-wheeled 2-passenger car that'll literally cost $6,800. Coming up in 2014, and it gets 84 miles per gallon. These are the kind of innovations that this country has to start creating. Now, we're waiting around for venture capitalists and all the Wall Street bankers who've gotten all this money to do something, right? Even Ben Bernanke's sitting around thinking, well, I'm giving $85 billion to the mortgage industry and all the big banks per month. How come they're not doing anything? Well, Ben Bernanke doesn't understand business. Those banks want to take the money and invest in Dubai and China. They don't want to build American jobs. So we have a problem here. Houston, we have a problem. America, we've got a big problem. The two parties the Democrats and Republicans embrace globalization, embrace the idea of outsourcing to other nations. Even Barack Obama's job czar, Jeffrey Immelt, the CEO of GE, he basically lost 25,000 jobs in 2010 in America, and he picked up 25,000 jobs for GE in New Delhi, India. Yes. So if you're from India, you're doing great. If you're an American, you're getting screwed. So we Americans are going to have to create a third party in the next election, and we're here to take your vote. We're here to get your contribution. We do this entire show literally for free. We never profit a single cent from anything we're doing, and we are completely 100% FEC compliant. We have never gotten any revenue from any internet activities, even YouTube. And that is maintaining our 100% compliance with election law. The Federal Election Commission requires that we do not receive any money from foreign nations or foreign companies or corporations. We have completely been legit all the way down the line. So if you want to contribute to our show at any time, simply go to our main website, America's Third Party, and click the contribute button. But if you just want to tell people about a third party, that would be a big plus right now. If we just had more people talking about a third party, and thankfully we've grabbed names out there on the internet called third party. So we're all set to go. We don't have thirdparty.com, but we are mentioned there. We are, however, all over the internet as americasthirdparty.com, americathirdparty.com, americanthirdparty.com, and .net, etc., etc. So we pretty much are established. We want to be the centrist political party that emerges out of nowhere to take on the two parties in the upcoming election. We want to be that party that offers all the different strategies to helping America that the other two parties don't even think of. Now, I mentioned legalization, but I'm also very concerned about getting out of foreign wars. I don't think it's going to help our nation one iota if we get more troops sent into the Middle East, frankly. I also am against the IRS in theory. I would like to downsize the IRS to the point where they are no longer in any way robbing the tax dollars that they're trying to take from you. Now, right now, the budget for the IRS is $95 billion a year. Not even the Fox News network knows this. They reported $14 billion. Well, I did fact checking and I went to the monthly Treasury report and I looked it up, and sure enough, the IRS is charging us $95 billion a year to sit there. Yeah. And what do? They bother people that make $30,000 a year. Instead of calling Bill Gates on the phone and saying, Bill, you're, or anybody, they just go after little guys. They're wasting dollars and cents. And they even gave each other bonuses of $70 million at the IRS recently. In 2010, they had $55,000 million in costs for conferences, for their executives to get conferenced. You know what getting conferenced is all about? You get all this swag, all kinds of stuff. They get hors d'oeuvres, deluxe Las Vegas trips, the whole deal. That's what a conference is. It's basically a glorified vacation. So we're paying for that. We're paying for a nation that is literally costing $95 billion just to drain your tax dollars. It's crazy. I also want to end the TSA. This is something the two parties aren't talking about. Rand Paul's talking about it, but those are just talks. The fact is, I want to end the TSA, and I will phase out the TSA in 1 year, beginning in 2017. We will bring in plainclothes Coast Guard men and women and National Guard men and women. They're there to guard our ports, so we have a perfectly legitimate reason to use them. They will also not charge the airports or the airlines because they're currently on staff in the Coast Guard, in the National Guard. So we can easily save money for you guys who are buying tickets for your airline tickets. You just save money there because currently the airlines are being basically fleeced by the TSA, and they have to pay for that service. Now today, Janet Napolitano has resigned from the Department of Homeland Security. Now there's another agency that's seriously in question. $72 billion a year. That's the current budget for Department of Homeland Security. $72 billion. They didn't cost us anything in 1999. So how can we justify these expenses? Well, Janet Napolitano is taking a job at University of California as the president. But I have a feeling she's being pushed out. I have a feeling the Department of Homeland Security is going to get a lot tougher on the American people. From what I'm gathering is a police state is forming in America. A veritable totalitarian police state is forming right under our nose, and we're just sitting back wondering, well, maybe Obama will live up to his promises. Yeah, 72 billion. That's how much that agency, Department of Homeland Security, is costing us. Anyway, the reality is, if the next guy appointed to the Department of Homeland Security directorship is a worse person, or if it's a woman, I mean, I almost feel like maybe it should be a woman, because we need a soft approach, not a hard approach. The Department of Homeland Security just ordered 1.6 billion rounds of ammunition. Can you imagine 1.6 billion rounds of ammunition? That's why you can't find ammunition very easily at department stores or Ace Hardwares or all these different sporting goods stores. They basically bought it all up. DHS did. They also ordered 2,717 armored carriers for use in America. Now tell me, yeah, well, you look it up, Don. I have a link. It's on our link star. If you go to our link star and type it in, it'll be there. But we've been posting links all over the place. And I want to thank all the work that Sarah did. She's not here right now, but Sarah Hart, my vice presidential choice, is amazing. She has mastered the website. I contributed with ideas and artistic input. She mastered a new website that you can now resize when you go to americasthirdparty.com, and you can see all the different ways in which you can promote us. You can click our ringtone button. That's kind of the coolest button we have. But the fact of the matter is, if we just sit back and allow the two parties to literally spend every dollar our country's ever had and then outsource every piece of labor out there, then we have a problem. That's happening. Obviously, the economy's tanking. I don't know if you've been on eBay lately or selling stuff on Craigslist. I'm flatlining. I'm using that as a gauge. I know that's a pretty low-end gauge, but I'm flatlining on eBay. I get 0 watchers, 0 bidders. I'm flatlining on Craigslist. And I've got things out there that are really good deals, but they don't even want to buy stuff. You know, I'm trying to clear out my attic, but it's not working. Basically, it's kind of reaching the point where everyone's holding on to their dollars, except, of course, Wall Street, which is obviously surging ahead. I'm going to take a look at today's Wall Street figures while I'm in the chat room. It's possible that Zimmerman, as the trial wraps up, could very well get manslaughter. The possibility...
Howdy, Dave. How's it going?
Hey, man. Pretty good, homeless guy. Don't have your video coming in right now, so we'll have to come back to you in a little bit. When you want to interact with us, you can always interact, folks, at tinychat.com/thirdparty. But, of course, if you're watching this in archive, you can't interact because you're watching it in archive. But we are uploading all these videos to... Hang on just a second. We are uploading all these videos to YouTube every night. And over there at this network, I have to keep hitting the broadcast live button. I can't talk about that network because BattleCam doesn't want me to talk about other networks. So I'm just going to stick to the fact that it's the network, you know, the one I'm talking about. Exactly. So I'm going to go ahead and broadcast again over in Politics Now. We are multicasting on multiple levels, folks. It's pretty interesting. Let me take a look at the business news. Dow Jones is up 3 points, but it's still sitting there kind of as a lure to a lot of investors to get in there and try to make more money on this incredibly ballooned out stock market. But what's really going on in our country is Wall Street has gotten all this free money from the Fed. And you know where they're getting the free money, by the way? They're printing it up out of nowhere. They're adding zeros to numbers, and they're taking that free money and giving it away. $85 billion a month. It's going to start going down over time, but $85 billion a month just to buy up mortgage-backed securities. Not to mention extended loans to too big to fail businesses. This is how they're faking our fake Wall Street Dow Jones economy. The real economy is happening in your cities. You look around, you see empty leased buildings. Everywhere is closing up. You see what I'm seeing, right? There's something very wrong with the picture in America right now. And if we don't do something out here in the blogosphere, out here in the perimeter, we need to start thinking about getting a brand new third party on the ballot in 2016. Now, we're at the thinking stage right now. We've gone through the whole motion of getting on the ballot in 2012, and it failed. So we've got a different strategy for this year and this cycle. And our strategy is to essentially create we're going to try to create an online presence and a cable TV ad run in Iowa. We're going to try to do this. We're going to try to focus on Iowa and then New Hampshire. And if we can get the mainstream media to look at our ideas, I think we can sell the American people on all the great concepts that we have. Now, we want to build up our housing with our homestead renewal plan. We want to get housing back on track. We cannot possibly allow the housing industry to continually fall apart. And we notice that in some cities, people don't even want to move there, like Detroit. They've lost their population. They went from close to 2 million down to, what, 600,000 people living in Detroit right now? And you can get a house for practically nothing. Ohio is a good one too. That's right, Potty and B. Thank you. Ohio is another one that we could get on the ballot with only 15 people as electors. So I want all of you to contact your Ohio friends and say, check out our website at americasthirdparty.com. Check out our live chat every night. I'm not ignoring anybody over Tiny Chat. I'm actually waiting for you guys to come in. Anybody who wants to interact on Tiny Chat can, and you'll be on our video chat page. You just have to show your face. And if you can't get your video camera to work, even a homeless guy can't get his video camera to work right now. So we do take all kinds of input, but you got to cam up. I know that sounds like a sex term or something, but it's not. You got to show your face, because we're doing this. We're putting our life on the line. Everybody knows, where we are. We've had to go through full disclosure to meet FEC requirements. The least you can do is put your face online, show us who you are. We have to be constantly vigilant and worry about stalkers in our show. We're trying to prevent stalkers from getting too close. And that's really important, because what we have here is the kernel, or the baby, if you will, the small thing that could grow into from a seed into a plant and into a brand new political movement that can change and revolutionize this great nation. All right. Now, all of your excuses for not camming up are irrelevant to me. Zoe's in here, one of our greatest fans from around the world. Thank you for coming in and making your night a visit with us. Very cool. A lot of you have come in just to talk politics. Well, as I said earlier, our political party effort is completely different from the two parties. We reject the use of the NSA watching everything. We want an ombudsman to challenge the NSA rulings and look at the laws that the NSA is employing to look over us. FISA judges have got to get their act together so that we don't in any way lose our Fourth Amendment rights. They can't illegally search and seize our email. They can't listen to our phone conversations. So we need someone to get out there and be a check and balance for the reckless abuse of our liberties. That's something I will deploy, an ombudsman to watch over the NSA and what the FISA judges are doing. Secondly, I will not allow commercial drones flying over our head in the coming years. Only for guarding the border will we employ or deploy military drones to guard our border. But the use of drones domestically, to me, is a violation of our Fourth Amendment as well. Right to privacy, right to illegal search and seizure of our image, for that matter. We don't have the right to look in through a window with a miniature aerial vehicle flying overhead. And these things are very dangerous. They could be deployed at any time in our country and ultimately affect our freedoms. Now, Obama and the Republicans they're definitely okay with that. They think, oh yeah, it's okay to have little things flying overhead.
Micro air vehicles.
Micro air vehicles. That's what these things are. I'm going to play you a little bit of the video in the background so you can look at it while I'm playing.
MAVs will play an important role in future warfare.
Yeah, they'll play an important role in future warfare. They literally fly right in front of, they can run on solar power. This video will show you a little bit about that. They can literally fly anywhere that any fly could go. They could be as small as a wasp. These are the things that we don't want flying everywhere, and they want to deploy 30,000 of these by 2020. 2020. Yeah, Janet Napolitano has left the post of Department of Homeland Security. I'm beginning to wonder if she isn't just leaving because it's getting too weird. That's my concern. And if it's getting too, when they ordered all those bullets, that got a little weird. And now with all these vehicles, armored vehicles, that got a little weird. What's going on? I'm a little concerned. It's almost like she's being pushed out because she's not hardcore enough. Now remember, a lot of these liberals have human rights on their mind. Now you'd expect Obama's administration to follow suit, but he is not a human rights guy, Obama. In fact, an article came out the day of the Boston Marathon bombing in the New York Times that talked about his use of rendition. Obama's been doing the same amount of rendition, torture, sending people over to foreign countries that Bush did. Waterboarding, yeah. But that article amazingly got pushed to the back page of the New York Times the day the Boston Marathon attack. Isn't that a little coincidence? Yeah, so you guys didn't know that. Hate to tell you the truth. The truth hurts sometimes. Yeah, exactly. And all of you who are trying to be all that you can be in the Army, bear in mind, we will maintain our forces. I'm not getting rid of 500,000 people. I'm not getting rid of 500,000 people like Obama in 10 years. We'll maintain $2 million personnel in our military. 2 million personnel will be maintained. Now that's something that I'm promising the American people. I'm also promising the American people we will not add to our troop strength on the ground in the Middle East. We will subtract from where we're at today. That's a solemn commitment I'm making to you right now. I'm promising you that. There's no reason for more ground wars. There's no reason for more involvement in other countries to that nature. We don't want, at America's Third Party, we don't want to fund rebel troop actions against Syrian government. We don't want to fund that. We think that that's starting wars, just like in Egypt, when Arab Spring fomented protests, and now look at it, it's practically a civil war. And I might add that Obama is still going to send 4 F-16s to Egypt, even though the military it's turned into a military junta state. So if you're having problems in chat rooms right now, bear in mind I'm doing everything I can to mitigate the slam of spam that's going on in those chat rooms. I will be banning anybody that tries to spam our room right now. We face this type of constant attack every single night because we are essentially spearheading a centrist political movement with truth on our side. So as much as you folks think you can shut us down, you're not going to be able to do that. The reality is America has amazing abilities, and that is we can possibly be a productive country again. We could possibly create low-cost solar panels that could get under $1 a watt. Truly, and compete with the world market and beat the Chinese at their own game. But we have to start thinking of regionalism. The idea of producing things locally, not sending things from all around the world. We're going to produce everything as close to the source of production as possible. That's something that'll help our country immensely. We got to get our head out of this globalization mentality that the two parties have stuck us in. And that's why our economy is falling apart. Plus, we're not dealing with a housing crisis. Now, let me tell you more about that. And I have a few more minutes left. I'll just mention that the housing crisis is still coming. We've got another mortgage balloon that's going to burst. Seriously, foreclosures are going on all around the country now. They're kicking into gear. People are losing their houses. The number of homeless in America has reached 3.6 million people. Okie dokie. That's a problem. Homelessness is still huge. And we've got a guy over in our room right now who is actually, and I don't think you need to watch that video anymore. I'll pull it off the screen. I think we've seen enough MAVs. I'm going to bring up a video, a picture of Edward. Now, Edward is living in Arizona somewhere. And he doesn't have a home. Now, I'm going to bring you on the screen, Edward. And I'm going to let you talk for a bit on our show. Hang on just a second. Okay, go ahead, Edward. If I can hear you, if your video feed is working, I'll talk to you, if that's possible. Okay. No, seems to be, yeah. I think he's locked up. So I'm going to close the broadcast. Yeah, that just didn't work. But he is a guy who calls in all the time on our show. And we interact with people like that. Just like I pulled my head off the screen. Oh, there you are.
Hey, what's up, Dave?
Hey, man, I'm pulling your video up again. Hang on. In fact, you'll be taking up the entire screen. Here he is. Okay. There you go. Hey, Edward. How's it going? Good to see you. I'm going to pull my screen up. As you can see, I'm going to pretend like I'm talking directly to you. Cool. Let me get my chroma key done here.
How's
There
it
we go.
going, man?
It's going pretty good. You know, we're trying our hardest to provide everybody with a third party, and you know, if it's possible,
Yeah.
we will do
Please
that.
do pretend.
Yeah, we're doing more than pretend. We're actually doing it on a daily basis. But some people are saying you should get a job. Now, do you believe?
This is in the room.
Yeah. Do you believe that they're right?
Rodney. Look,
Yeah,
look
I
at the
don't.
name.
I don't follow people like that.
Rodney.
Yeah, I don't follow people like that.
He's
I got
coming
a
up
quick.
with another handle.
Yeah, I got a question for you. Do you believe that you can actually work with your COPD? Do you believe that you could actually work? Do you believe you could actually work? Okay, apparently he doesn't want to answer that. So, yeah, we're not going to be able to get a direct answer out of him on that question. He has actually told us that he will not work. And a lot of people are thinking, what do you mean? Why can't this guy work? Well, he's got COPD. It's a real problem. It's when you lose your breath, it's kind of hard to work. So some people are just not sensitive to the possibility that this guy, you know, is basically unable to work. I, however, am. We have a concept called Baseline Plus. And to put it in a nutshell, it includes the Homestead Renewal Plan, actually. Baseline Plus offers people a job if they want to have plus. But if they want a baseline, something that they can call a basic income, then they'll be able to get low-cost rent or even Section 8 housing, and they'll be able to live in a warm room. Now, he can't live in a warm room. He basically has no funds to do that, and they won't give him Section 8 housing, so there's a real problem with his entire setup. That's the problem with our country right now, essentially. We've got a series of problems that just don't make sense. Why would a country allow 3.6 million people claim that it's a democratic country or that it's handling its population? We are seriously bereft of our duty as people in allowing homelessness to go on. So the Homestead Renewal Plan is essentially the idea of taking old houses, fixing them up, offering people a job at $10 an hour and an opportunity to someday own that house or a house like it. This builds pride in ownership and creates a whole another way of looking at how we are treating the housing industry right now. Now, will I require Congress to create and implement the Homestead Renewal Plan? The answer is no. Congress is not necessary to do this. We can actually pull this off. You could ultimately have a house like this, as nice as this, for $50,000. And I can do this through the HUD program. Now, HUD has a home program that is not being implemented right now. Barack Obama is not utilizing the home program. Other than the minimum of $3 billion that he's been allocating, we don't even know where that money's going. That hasn't been developed. The reality is the home program could be the Homestead Renewal Program, and we can get this thing going as soon as I hit the ground running in 2017. So folks, I think I've talked enough. I've talked your ear off. If you watch this show in archive broadcast, thank you for watching it. But bear in mind, these shovel-ready jobs will provide people an income of $10 an hour. They will give people a sense of pride, and it's pretty much their sweat equity going into owning a house. Now, investors will not be able to qualify for houses in this program. Investors who want to profit will not be able to get into it. So that's something that we are very concerned about. We don't want people profiting from this. But we Americans need to get housing for people, and we need to save the housing industry, so this is the best way to do it. Thank you very much for watching our recorded broadcast, and come back every night from 6 to 8 p.m., and we will do exactly what we do, provide a live venue and interact with the chat room well into the evening. I've got a 3-hour show slated. So thank you, and come back again. And continue telling people about a third party, and you can tweet at third party. Whenever you send tweets out, be sure to send at third party and make people aware of us. And please follow us on Twitter. Good night, and thank you.